Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Hello and welcome back to Big Mouth, and you can keep this or any other conversation I ignite going on over on my Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And I'm really excited and buzzing. I don't even want to be sitting on this chair right now. Because Luis Fernando, who's a bit of a scooper, he seems to know a lot about movies, and especially DC, and the DCEU has posted something about James Gunn's larger role within the future of the DCEU, and he seems to be claiming that he saw the Batsuit a lot more earlier than we did, and lots of things like that. So it's clear that James Gunn's future lies with Warner Brothers, lies with the DCEU. He'll finish Suicide Squad, he'll do Guardians 3, and he'll be back plotting with Walter Hamada the future of this fabulous franchise. And you know, before I went onto Twitter and I found this information, I mean, other YouTubers will empathise. Sometimes there's nothing going on out there and you don't know what to talk about. I was going to talk about the story so far of the DCEU, my favourite movies. I was also going to talk about Chris Wong Svensson from Ping Pong Flicks because he posted something beautiful words from Chris. And I'm going to talk about that and what he's fighting for and what we're fighting for. And also saying, just because you're fighting for the haircut and the Snyder Cut doesn't mean you can't be excited for the future of this wonderful franchise. So let's see what Luis Fernando has had to say. Go and follow him on Twitter. He's got lots of information. Luis, which is Luiz, Fernando, Fernando, at Luis Fernando. Follow him, he's brilliant. This is what he said. Hashtag James Gunn has revealed interesting stuff last night. He seems to have a wide knowledge on what's going on at DC Films, as he acknowledges knowing future movie details, and Walter Hamada himself showed him the Batsuit. Could he be playing a larger than expected role at the DCEU? Yes, he wasn't just brought in for one film. So he's got some screenshots. Question, do you know the future of the DC movie universe? Like, do you know details on new movies? Some, yes. Interesting. You see, this is just exciting if you're a DC fan, right? Something else. Did Matt show you the Batsuit? Walter Hamada showed me the Batsuit. And I texted Matt to tell him how much I dug it. I love James Gunn, and this is brilliant. So we go on. Also, James Gunn talked about the Suicide Squad and revealed that Harley Quinn's role in his movie will be a big one. Not just a cameo, as some people out there insist. He also revealed the Suicide Squad happens during current day, but didn't clarify if before or after Birds of Prey's events. Here's another question. Does Harley Quinn have a spotlight on the Suicide Squad? She's a major part of the film, if that's what you're asking. Right. Anything else? No. So, James Gunn's larger role. But first, let's talk about Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn, and James Gunn confirming her larger role within the Suicide Squad movie, his Suicide Squad movie. Listen, anyone who was perpetuating a rumour that she was going to cameo in the Suicide Squad movie must be nuts. Why do you think Margot Robbie was able to do whatever she wanted with Birds of Prey? She's so important to Walter Hamada's roadmap within the future of the DCEU. So she approaches Walter and says, listen, I am so proud of playing this character. I'm so digging your plans, Walter, but I want to do this. I want a girl gang movie. I want to show young girls about friendship. And he said, yes. Do you really think that WB, DC, Jeff Johns, Walter Hamada give a crap that Birds of Prey isn't going to make $1 billion at the box office, right? This film potentially with Japan could finish at $250 million. That's an astronomical profit for a film that barely cost $100 million to make. They don't care. They gave her what she wanted. She did what she wanted. She's happy. Many Harley Quinn fans around the world are really happy. Do you think they care what Grace Randolph is trying to perpetuate? False agendas and false narratives. Or Scott Mendelson, the box office expert, calling the film a solid disaster. Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. This is a hit. More people than not love this movie. It's part of the DCEU. It's a success, and you can keep on pushing with the agenda train, but Walter Hamada is pushing along with these plans. So, what is James Gunn's larger role within the DCEU? He's not here to make up the numbers. He's not here just to do one film and then go back and work with the MCU. His role with the MCU will be over after Guardians 3. Or is he the link that brings the MCU and the DCEU together? Has Walter Hamada and Kevin Feige got a bigger plan? I predicted last year that the MCU and the DCEU would cross over. That's the next thing. We may be having this, us and the MCU fans may have this frenemy status, but those guys are friends. They're part of the same, industry, right? Of course there's a plan. And think about it. Who would know how to do a crossover better than James Gunn? He is the man. Taika Waititi, the director, he's not I'm not one of his biggest fans in terms as a person, because he went in at Todd Phillips when Todd Phillips talked about modern movies and things like that being woke. I don't totally agree with what Todd was saying with that, but I do fight for his right to say it. And I didn't like Taika Waititi tweeting and saying, he funny, but Taika Waititi is a very talented filmmaker and an actor. Very, very talented. Don't forget, he was also in the Green Lantern movie. He's a very talented man. And to have people like him and James Gunn involved within the DCEU is pivotal and vital. What Walter Hamada is doing is both intelligent and awesome. And let's look at it another way. The things that are going on with Black Adam that Walter is planning, the JSA. I say this every day. That's more than just a Black Adam movie. That's exciting. The future of the DCEU is extremely exciting. And if this is true, that James Gunn has a larger role within the DCEU, and I don't care about jokes he made 800 years ago, it doesn't matter. He is one of the most talented people within the industry, and we want these people involved in our franchise. It's so very, very important. So he seems to know a lot about the future and Walter's plans. So he may know about a Superman movie, he may know about a Supergirl movie, but the plans are there, and it's very, very exciting. And I'm telling you this again for the people who are hard of hearing and slow of learning, right, in block capitals. Birds of Prey is a great movie that's made solid box office and was never meant to do anything else. Your agenda is boring. It doesn't work. And by the way, it wasn't Warner Brothers who put Harley Quinn at the beginning of the title. It was a couple of cinema chains. It had nothing to do with Warner Brothers. Stop lying and stop putting Birds of Prey and Sonic the Hedgehog against each other. They are actually both really great movies. You can go and watch both. That's what people do. People don't actually pick what movies they're going to see. If I want to, I wanted to see Sonic. I saw Sonic, right? I saw Birds of Prey. And I love both films. You'd have to be a freaking maniac to start putting films up against each other. I'd have to be a maniac to put Superman the movie against Man of Steel when I love both films and are about the same freaking character. You can love both things. But it's, we live in this era of either or, isn't it? You're either with us or against us. And that kind of comes to my next point a bit later on with what Chris Wong Svensson was saying about the release, the Snyder Cut community. And I think it's very, very important. He is a peacemaker. He's not like the rest on the agenda train. He's not looking for trouble and he's not looking for arguments. And I can't wait to read out his tweet to you. But so what else could James Gunn be working on? Or I say this, could Robert Pattinson's Batman be involved in the Suicide Squad? Because it's very interesting, isn't it? that James Gunn was shown the costume. Now, of course, he's there. He's part of the DCEU now. Why not? Waterhammer, this is a big DC fan, by the way. This guy's read every single freaking Suicide Squad graphic novel. He chose the Suicide Squad over Superman, not because he hates Superman, not because he thought he couldn't do a great Superman movie, because he's a massive Suicide Squad fanboy. And, if I get to do any DCEU film I want, which is never going to happen, I'm a big-time Superman fan above anything else. I ain't going to choose Wonder Woman. I ain't going to choose Batman. I ain't going to choose The Flash. I'm choosing Superman because I've got billions of ideas on how to make a great Superman movie. Of course, I think it'll be great, and then the whole world will probably think it's crap. That's how it works, right? But, he's a great auteur. He's a great filmmaker. He's a great director. And he knows how to pen a story as well. So excited for the future of this movie universe. But I want to go to James Gunn and something he's got on his pinned tweet that we saw about a year ago. So where are we? James Gunn. Hang on. Here we are. No. Let's go back. Let's go to James Gunn. Let's go to James Gunn now. His pinned tweet, basically, is the cast of the Suicide Squad. This is old news, of course, we know. Now, under this kind of screenshot, he's got "don't get too attached." So he's saying many people are going to die. Now, we know he's a big fan of the original Dirty Dozen film, and this Suicide Squad movie will, shadow that movie. So it's a Dirty Dozen type of film. Now, I really like that because basically the Suicide Squad are the Dirty Dozen anyway. They're a bunch of criminals that join this squad because they're dispensable, and Waller can actually get them to do things, and if they die, they die. She doesn't care. They're not heroes. They've done so many bad things. She thinks, F them. They die. It's like what the Russian says, isn't it, in Rocky IV? If he dies, he dies. If they die, they die. It doesn't matter. I can't wait for Viola Davis returning as Amanda Waller. One of the best things about Suicide Squad that nobody freaking talks about. Viola Davis is amazing in David Ayer's Suicide Squad. Oh boy, I'm still pushing to get the Ayer Cut released as well as the Snyder Cut. That's as important. Some people may not agree with that, but I do. This is why I've got hashtag over me right now, release the Snyder Cut and release the Ayer Cut. I want you to see that while I'm talking, to inspire you to hashtag those on Twitter to death, because it's so important. And as I say, I can fight for that. I can be part of this release the Snyder Cut movement and still be excited for the future, because what Walter Hamada is a very talented producer. He's as talented as Kevin Feige, and he's doing special things. And if you're a DC fan, you should be very excited with the plans. And yes, James Gunn has a larger role of consulting with, I forgot his name already, Walter Hamada. I only just said his name right. But could James Gunn become the Kevin Feige of this universe? Will he be given a bigger role after he finishes Guardians? It's all very, very interesting and very exciting. So we've got David Dastmalchian. I forgot who he's playing. We've got John Cena. We've got Jay Courtney's coming back. Joaquin Cosio, Nathan Fillion. That's a piece of great casting, by the way. Joel Kinnaman. I can't see Joel's character being killed off. Mei-Ling Nig. Falula Berg. Sean Gunn's always in anything that James does. Juan Diego Atota, Storm Reed. Pete Davidson. Now, he's a comedian. That's interesting. Taiki Waititi's involved. I assume he's going to be killed off. Alice Braga, Steve Agile, Tanisha Kishil, Daniela Melchior, Peter Capaldi, former Doctor Who, a big Doctor Who fan. That's awesome. I can't wait to see who he plays. Could it be Lex Luthor? Or could it even be Brainiac? Because we've seen him kind of head shaven and stuff on the on-set pics as well. Very exciting. Julia Ruiz, Jennifer Holland, Viola Davis, Idris Elba, Margot Robbie, and look at this, Michael freaking Rooker. So James is using some of his people that have served him really, really well. Now, you know what? Michael Rooker would be an excellent Lex Luthor. Yes, it's no secret, Jesse Eisenberg will never return as Lex Luthor, and we could see someone playing Lex in this movie. And I think this is part of the rumour of people saying that James Gunn's got a larger role. I think he could be setting up the future of the DCEU. And as I say, all these films come after Wonder Woman 1984, or as I'm calling it, Flashpoint Part 1. Very important because the imminent changes will come in this film. Next year, don't forget guys and girls, next year we're getting the Batman and the Suicide Squad. That's amazing. The following year we're getting Shazam, Black Adam, and the Flashpoint movie, or as I'm calling it, Flashpoint Part 2. So we're getting, what, 3 or 4 movies? I think we're getting 3 or 4 movies in 2022. And Aquaman as well. Don't forget, bloody hell, that's a massive year for the DCEU. We have a slate. It's exciting. Get excited. Because unless you have an agenda and you think by Walter's plans failing and Zack will return, you ain't got a chance, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what happened to Zack. And all we can do now is keep fighting for the Snyder Cut and the Ayer Cut, so at least those men's visions can come out. So Zoe Kravitz, as we know, has been cast as Catwoman in Matt Reeves' The Batman, and Bleeding Cool have been talking to her. So let's see what she's had to say. The Batman, Zoe Kravitz, talks how she's preparing for Catwoman. To say landing the part of Catwoman in the upcoming Matt Reeves film, The Batman, is an experience and in and of itself is High Fidelity spoke to Variety on how things changed for the actor. The star of Hulu's High Fidelity spoke to Variety on how things changed for the actor. So, this is what she's had to say. I was excited when I got the role. Usually when you get a job, the people who are excited about it are you, your parents, agent, friends, and that's kind of it. When the press release came, I got more text messages and calls than I've gotten on my birthday or wedding day. All of a sudden, the reality began to sink in about what this means, not only to me, but to everybody else culturally. And the fans of this universe are so dedicated and opinionated. Really? Somebody's been watching the DCEU daily, eh, Zoe? Zoe, anytime you want to come on here, we can have a chat. No agenda. Love ya. Filling in her own shoes for the Batman. When it comes to stepping out other shadows, Zoe offers a unique perspective given her musician father, Lenny Kravitz, and her Catwoman's predecessors. It was a little scary whenever I get nervous about something. I feel it pushes me to a better place. Focusing too much on what people are going to think. You're doing yourself a disservice. It's almost like you're putting your energy in the wrong place, of course. I want to honour the fans. I hope they like what I do with the role. In order to do what I think I need to do with Catwoman, I have to go internal and forget about the rest of the world. Aside from making a dramatic change from her smaller roles to a blockbuster comic film, Kravitz said she looks forward to the challenge of working with the Batman co-star Robert Pattinson. I've never worked with him before, but we've been together for the last few weeks. Awesome. I've had to camera test with him, and now we've been training together. We're rehearsing together. He's just a delightful person and such a wonderful, thoughtful actor. I think he's perfect for the role, and it's going to be such an adventure. I'm excited to have him as my partner in crime and to be there to support each other because it's intense. It's going to be a long shoot, and there's a lot of pressure, and I know he has my back, and I have his. How beautiful. I love that. Is that it? And that's it, everyone. But yes, look. Just reading that just gets my juices flowing and pumping. Zoe is very talented, very talented. It's an interesting pick, but I tell you what, I couldn't give a flying fig. I'm happy with her casting. I think her and Robert will be really great together. And this is what I want from Catwoman. I've read her a lot in the graphic novels, and she's so complex and interesting. And the character I like is when she's a villain, but she's also torn between that villainy and her love for Bruce Wayne and Batman. Because she's not a hardcore villain, But she is a thief at the end of the day. But she does have this amazing, intense relationship with Batman and Bruce Wayne. So I think if we can see both elements of that and Zoe can project that, that's going to be absolutely fantastic. And I really, really can't wait for this movie. 2021 can't come soon enough. Please, fate, time, God, or whatever, let me survive till 2021 because the DCEU, the future of it is so exciting. Let's read out what Chris Wong Svensson from the YouTube channel Ping Pong Flicks has said. And I'm so loving this guy. Part of my inspiration for doing this channel is Chris. He's very successful, but it's not about the success for him. It really is about DC, and I love him for it. But this is really great. And this is all about Release the Snyder Cut. No one gets to decide who's in the Release the Snyder Cut movement or not. You either believe in it or you don't. And if you don't, we hope we can help change your mind. Every little bit counts. Every believer matters. Well, Chris, that is absolutely fantastic. We want to be a movement, right, that invites people. But also we must be a movement when people don't agree with us. We say, yeah, that's your opinion. You're entitled to it. Here's the facts. This is what happened to Zach. This is what happened in the production. Take that away. Now, if you don't want to be part of it, that's fine. But here's the truth. And that's the end of it. We are not some kind of cult. We are not some kind of crazy people. Unfortunately, with the internet and these social media platforms, they're very reactive. Someone says something you don't believe in, it's and it just leads to one thing and the other. And I try to keep away from that. But even I'm sucked into the negativity and toxicity at times. But this is what I'm talking about. There's another thing going on. And I think Chris makes a great point here. But the thing that really gets me is the people who think if you're part of the Release the Snyder Cut, Release the Air Cut community, right, that you can't be excited for the future of the DCEU. You've got to put down the Batman's new suit. You've got to say Birds of Prey's crap. You've got to try and put people off of these new films and the future of the DCEU because you think Zack Snyder's coming back if these films fail. First of all, these films are not going to fail. Walter Hamada is a clever man. There's exciting times ahead. Give up. You're wasting your oxygen. Why don't you preserve your oxygen for fighting and hashtagging for Zack's and David's film to come out? Because I tell you what, nothing makes me more exciting than that day when I'm sitting there with my ice blast, my popcorn, and I'm watching the Snyder Cut and I'm watching the Air Cut. And what I can do is I can remove the theatrical version of the Air Cut, pull it and put the David's cut of it in the collection, when I can come on here and snap into the Justice League, right, and put Zack's cut in my collection. That's the day I can't wait. But also, the days I can't wait for is the Batman, Suicide Squad, the next Superman movie, Black Adam, The Flash, Shazam 2. These are also all very exciting things. And it's not a non-exclusive thing. You don't have to be going for one or the other. And I think what Chris said was brilliant, and I really do respect him for it. So please comment down below. I want to know what you think. It's very important to me. Even if I don't respond to your comments, I am reading them, and I appreciate your interactions. I want to thank the 50 to 100 people who come in daily and take time out their busy schedules to support my channel, share it, like it, or just view it. Thank you very, very much. Please subscribe. Please share the video, please share the channel, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you then. I can't wait.